This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Garth Hover.
How are we doing tonight?
And Tyler Brockle.
How's it going?
Oh, pretty well. How about you guys?
I can't complain.
New gear night for me, so I'm all sorts of stoked.
That is always a good day.
Yep. Yeah, it was back ordered too. It's one of those things where I really like Optics Planet, but one of the things I don't like is they'll be like, "Oh yeah, in stock," and as soon as you buy it, it magically has like a 2 to 3 week wait time tacked onto it. So yeah.
I've been there before. So, before we get into your gear, I guess that could be, do you guys do anything interesting or neat to do with guns this week?
Garth, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I had the 3-gun match, well, our single gun match, whatever, for our SCH match. And Paul and I got to run a stage and create a pretty interesting one, I thought. So we used the couch out of your basement, which everyone hated. Not for the fact that it was your couch, but it just,
all the stains.
Lay down. No, all the stains.
I mean, there is that too, but
yeah.
In all fairness, I've slept on that couch, so
I have too.
So have I.
No, but it was a fun match and a fun course and stuff. And then
what'd you do with the couch specifically in the match?
It was our starting position.
Okay.
So you had your gun and magazine unloaded on a barrel, and at the sound of the buzzer, what you were laying on the couch.
Pants on or off?
Well, it was a hideaway bed, so you were actually laying on the mattress itself.
Okay.
And on the sound of the buzzer, it was supposed to simulate a bump in the night. You'd be sleeping in your bed and wake up, and you'd go grab your gun and magazine and load and make ready, and then go through the course. And
okay.
So
you guys got all kinky with it.
Yeah, I'll put it on Facebook. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
so.
put it on South Dakota Pew Pew.
I can do that.
See it. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that looked like a super fun match to run, just from the way that stage was set up.
It was pretty neat. So, and actually, we're going to use that couch now. I think after everyone complained about it for the whole day, I think we're going to use it for our 3-gun match coming up here at the 25th of September. So.
Everyone went, "I hate this thing. It's stupid. We need to keep it."
Yep, pretty much. So we put it in the shed, and I don't know how many rats and mice we're going to have go through it by the time, September 25th rolls around. But whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it found a good home. It's at a shooting range. It left my basement and went to a shooting range, and I can't think of a more...
Well, your wife is just going to throw it away, and I was racking my brain. I was like, man, I really want to find like this twin bed, but I'm going to spend money on it. And she's like, I've got a couch. I'm like, I'll take it.
Well, it just seems like a really good natural progression for that couch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
From one shooting home to another.
It's probably how it wanted to go out, so...
I would say
it almost went out right away because I don't know how you guys got it through that door frame, but getting it back out was a bear, and it took about 4 saws to get the one corner to go through.
I think there was a lot of bourbon, swearing, and brute force.
Yeah.
Yeah. America.
Yeah.
But yeah, JR, speaking of your September 25th match, I'm going to try and make that, right? I'll actually be in Colorado Springs the day before for Swamp Fox's range
Oh,
day.
nice.
But my thing I was going to share is I just repurposed one of my rifles. Dooley was making fun of me. I built this ultra precision AR, intending it to be a coyote gun.
Sure.
And I ended up running a 3-gun match a couple weeks ago, and I said, screw it. I need more of a dedicated 3-gun AR. And so I ended up building it. And for those of you who see it on the screen right here, and it kind of goes into our topic today, which I'll use it to talk here in a bit. But this is probably the longest and heaviest AR that I own and I've ever built. It's a 18-inch ballistic advantage barrel with a enhanced upper receiver from Aero Precision. So it's got their Quantum 15-inch long, all M-lock handguard. And, for those who don't know what the enhanced is, it's the handguard is actually bolted directly to the upper receiver instead of the barrel nut. And therefore you put absolutely no stresses on the barrel through the barrel nut. So it's even a step above the traditional free-floating handguard. But then I put a Swamp Fox Optics 1x10 on it, and I still got to sight it in. But this bad boy is going to come to that 3-gun match and make its debut. So
nice.
But it's heavy. Oh my God, is it heavy?
Well, that works. I again did not shoot any real guns this week.
You got some EST in though.
Oh, that's all I've been doing. I did that last week and the whole 5 day there. Well, for 5 days this week.
Yeah.
But this time I'm shooting the fun ones because they have belts.
Ooh.
So,
Don't really get those because they don't normally work every time I get in there. For those of you who don't know what the EST is, it's a I don't know what you want to call it, virtual reality simulator shoot with pneumatic weapons that the Army uses.
Yeah, it's a what do they call it? Environmental skills trainer.
Ooh.
I think it's the exact phraseology for it. But no, so we've been doing the Army has a new qualification for the saw, and it is the exact same as their M4 qual with a weapon that weighs twice as much.
Are you still using the barrier?
Yes.
Holy shit, that'll be cool.
So it's the first round you're standing free floating,
balls out, saw hammering down, huh?
Yep,
that'd be great.
Just one letter rip tater chip at a 50-meter target, and then you go into just exactly like the Army's new M4 qual. And so coaching people through doing that with the saw has been a eventful week.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to weasel my way onto one of those qual ranges this summer.
Yeah, we did that, and our commander came and shot it, and she was way happier with shooting the 240 than the saw, because the 240 you still just shoot from the bipod.
Oh yeah,
and not having to pick up a 16-pound rifle plus ammo,
plus a 7.62 over a 5.56. Got a little more snort to it on full auto.
Yep. But Garth, I know you sent me or you sent us a text as well, maybe a little bit of a callback to our episode from last week. But I think you got to shoot something that we talked about.
Yeah, actually we did. It just happened to show up on the range out of the blue. And it was a bullpup, first of all. We'll just throw that out there. And it was Springfield's, right?
Springfield Hellion.
Yeah.
You mean the VHS?
Yeah, the VHS, yeah. And I don't know, while I didn't mind the weight and the recoil of it, the charging handle on it was it was right underneath the carry handle, and you had to like push your finger through, and it was ambidextrous, so you could go either way. But just for that fact that you had to like push it through the handle first and then rack it, it was strange to me, and I did not care for that at all. So
yeah.
So that manual of arms is not for you, is what I'm hearing.
Well, not that exact gun, but then I came across, I don't know, just because bullpups were popping up on my screen because, Amazon and iPhone and everyone else listens, so they just give you ads upon ads upon ads. But then that company I sent you guys has that 22 bullpup, which is really sweet, except it's not left-hand accessible, so I'd be firing, spent cases right into my face. So.
Well, I looked at that, and it's a conversion kit for a Ruger 1022.
Yes.
And I know that they do now make a left-handed Ruger 1022.
But their conversion kit, from looking around their site, the little I didn't see them making a left-handed one. So
no, I just
nothing a Dremel can't solve.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, we can cut another port.
I don't need a 22 bullpup that bad. I mean, it'd be cool.
You say that now.
It'd be cool to have. Don't get me wrong, it would be, but
we'll hit you up once harvest season is done. You got some cash flow burning a hole in your pocket.
We'll just get you hooked onto that train that rolls through Keltec's office. All right, guys, we got this figured out.
Right on. So it was what you're saying, not exactly the best ergonomics.
No, I mean, no, not at all. And the guy that bought, he's like, this is my home defense weapon. I'm like, oh no, don't use this. Don't. But he's in the Army, and I can't talk him out of it. So,
interesting.
Yeah,
but yeah. So that. Oh, go ahead, Dooley.
I was gonna say, I think what Tyler was gonna do was segue us there, but he said, "Go ahead to me."
Yeah,
and that brings us into kind of our topic for the night of ergonomics, which ergonomics you might not think of as something big for the AR or something that gets talked a lot about, but it's one of the reasons that makes the AR the most popular rifle in the country is the ergonomics of it.
And I kind of disagree with that in the sense that it's I think it's extremely important. You don't notice it until you have your weapon on you for prolonged periods. And when we were kind of discussing what we wanted to talk about this week, I think just ergonomics in general, I've never really heard anybody, talk about it specifically. People have talked about, what type of handguard do I get? What type of rear grip should I get? What type of stock should we get? But there's so many factors that play into that, and ergonomics and size of rifle and weight of rifle is plays to that. So when you guys are building this stuff out, it's something you should really take into consideration. And I'll be honest with you, right? You might not get it right the first time. I think I've changed since I finished this rifle last week. I think I've swapped out the rear grip 3 times and the foregrip twice, trying to get it just right.
Oh, no, you're exactly right, Tyler. It's something you don't notice until you pick up a different weapon and you go, holy crap.
Yep.
Wow, the AR is so easy to handle. And because it is such a wide modularity or a wide variety of modularity you can do to it. So, yeah.
Yep. And kind of tying back to last week's episode, like I do like the bullpups, and there are ergonomic advantages over the bullpup, predominantly in my mind, the fact that you move the center, the weight, the center of gravity back towards your shoulder a lot more. So there's a lot less felt weight and therefore less fatigue. But in terms of ergonomics on placement of the controls and maneuverability, I still think the AR is top notch. But of course, I say that as somebody who lives in the United States, and our primary issued weapon is the M4, and the AR-15 is just on the civilian side, kind of everybody's go-to. So it's just what we're used to the most and trained with the most. But even with that said, I feel like it's got some pretty superior qualities to it in terms of ergonomics.
It really does. And, there's things to look at because like you talked about, the ergonomic qualities of it. And, from tip to butt, if you want to do the Grantha method, and but go like from stocks to handguards. One thing that you guys haven't really mentioned is the fire control system. So not just the trigger, the fire control group, but how the safety works. So I like to say I'm like as Clint Smith says, a student of weaponscraft, where I've shot a lot of different rifles from a lot of different places, and if I see a weird rifle, I instantly want to pick it up and play with it and learn how to use it because it's just how my brain works. But like thinking about how the safety works, or the fire position selector on an AR
Mm-hmm.
versus like how it works on, say, your MP5, Tyler.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's backwards on the MP5.
Yeah, it's just at a 45 as opposed to a 90. But
like,
that's a European thing, right? Like European guns do 45, and you can actually get safety selectors which will do 45 degrees as well.
And then
for ARs.
Like if you look at like everybody touts the M14. So an M14, in order to take the safety off, you had to stick your finger in the trigger guard and then push the safety forward through the trigger guard. And that was how the safety worked on the Garand style actions.
Yeah. And while we're on the subject of safeties, then I've noticed a few things, right? So my LMT defense ARs, for example, the ambidextrous safeties on them, the left side is completely identical to the right side. So you've got that mil-spec looking longer safety selector on both sides. And one consideration that a lot of people, I think, take into account is the fact that those longer selectors can either hit your hand, hit your finger, depending on the size of your finger, depending on the size of your hand and your grip. So a couple considerations is that ambidextrous lever narrow enough that it's not going to hit your finger, that it's not going to rub on your hand while you're using it, shooting it all day. Dooley, that 11.5-inch AR that you let me borrow, for instance, it has kind of a flared paddle on it, and I absolutely hate it because it actually rubs on the palm of my hand when I shoot the gun.
Yep.
But like this Havoc Engineering AR I got behind me, it actually has a small cutout in it. So it's still a full-length safety selector, but they got a small cut to allow it to clear your finger. And then I also have a Radian Raptor one over here that's just shortened. So there's a lot of different design features out there and considerations taken account with safety selectors.
100%. I'm sure Garth can speak to that, being our resident wrong-hander. That getting into those, I will say, I swapped the safety on that 11.5-inch gun you have.
Mm-hmm.
So the big one is on that side.
Oh,
and
okay.
The reason for that is how I hold my hand is not how I teach people to hold when they shoot.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I hold a very unique way.
Yep.
And I actually run my thumb on the right side of my rifle.
Interesting.
And then I run that fire control group with my thumb on that side.
How very California compliant of you.
It actually has nothing to do with that. It's the reason why I do that is years ago I was at a military competition, was talking to a guy, and it was one of the he was an all army shooter, and I watched him shooting, and I said, "Hey, why do you do that?" And he goes, "Oh, at this 500-meter target, if I run my thumb on this side of the grip, the pressure from me squeezing doesn't affect the way it moves." So then I started looking, and you see like a lot of PRS builds will have a thumb shelf right alongside the pistol grip on that right side of the rifle.
Well, some bitch, I might have to try that to see how it feels.
No, it's goofy as shit the first time you do it, and it took me a long time to get used to that. And after I got used to it, now it's just kind of how I prefer to.
I also got an extended. Extended takedown pin on this, so it kind of has a natural resting position too.
Yep. So that's why that one has the goofy large paddle.
Oh, very cool. But yeah, that just kind of goes to show everyone that, you know, what works and is comfortable for one person,
Yep.
that's why we're not going to sit here and say, hey, you should buy this particular component because it's awesome. That happens to work for me, as it works different for you. And so unfortunately, when it comes down to it, you just kind of got to try shit until to figure out what you like.
You know, the advantage of being a left-hander and shooting all these right-handed guns, though, is you guys are talking safety switch. I mean, that's exactly how I run my gun. Now that you call me on it, I mean, I can just pop my left thumb up there. I have full control of my safety. So
interesting, yeah.
Yep.
I've never really thought about you guys because I've never had to shoot. Well, I never shoot left-handed guns. I always shoot backwards, so to speak.
Yep.
So yeah, never. I thought that was just normal for me. No. I guess I've been doing it different the whole time.
Yep. So no, that's one of those where again the ergonomics of it coming back and forth, and like that safety selector that we've been talking about. So if you ever pick up something like an AK, for instance, unless you throw an aftermarket safety on most AKs, because somebody out there is going to type furiously in the comments that I am wrong. But like the Krebs Customs did some changes to it. You have to take your hand all the way off of the pistol grip and then push down, because how the safety works on an AK is not only does it stop your hammer from firing, but it also comes up and stops you from being able to charge it because it blocks the bolt from coming down.
Okay.
So then you shove that paddle down and it has detents where it scratches along the side. And that's how you move it out of the way, and then it goes into its fire control positions.
Interesting.
But having to completely adjust how your firing position to
actuate a safety selector is probably not the most ideal.
Yeah, especially if you're looking up and if you're taking an accurate shot, you want to hold that shot position as long as you can, and you might have the safety on where it's okay, yep, and then snap, safety's off, and you don't have to move anything.
Yep, understood.
Whereas, okay, yes, I shoot now. I pull hand out, I hit down, I put back.
Well, we know better, so we use non-commie rifles.
Exactly.
But I think that's beating safety selectors to death. How about we move on to something right next to it, the rear grips?
Yep, so rear grips are great, and there are a plethora of them on the market.
Oh, yeah.
But who's our favorite?
I think our favorite would be VZ grips.
Ooh.
Not just because they're a sponsor of the show, but because they're an actual great product. And the biggest thing about VZ grips is the unique grip angle and texture, and the fact they're made from a solid block of G10. That allows it to make sure that it doesn't get slippery when it's muddy, sweaty, bloody.
We didn't cut out. He's just coughing.
I choked on my own line of bullshit there.
I do have to admit, I when I got those grips, or when I felt them at the NRA show, I actually had to go and look up what G10 was, and it's a basically machinable composite. So for those of you who don't know, it's pretty tough, pretty durable, and I must have been feeling the really extreme grips because, man, it dug into your hand. It was
I'm not sure exactly which one they sent us, but it took some getting used to before I was ready to handle the weapon. But now it's honestly one of my favorite. It's on my, so to speak, duty rifle, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Right on. But yeah, I think the first thing to consider in terms of when you're selecting a grip, right, is grip angle. Yep. There is a difference, right, between
very much so
that you want for a rifle and one that you might want for an SBR. So for like this longer 18-inch one that I have right here, I actually had a old I think it's an Ergo grip, but it was a really, really fat one because I got big old go gadget fingers, and I had to have something to really wrap around. Predominantly, I'm using either the VZ grips or the Havoc one back there. I got a Magpul K2 MOE. So angle is the first thing. If you don't have the proper angle for the length of your gun, I think in my opinion, you're going to fatigue your wrist by the end of the day.
Very much so. There's actually there's a couple companies that did other things that were unique, but unfortunately it also creates a failure point. Now the likelihood of a failure point at this spot is slim to none. But back in the day there was a company called the Umbrella Company, and they borrowed their logo from Resident Evil. And but they had, it was, I think Ergo Grip might do it now, and I know that I want to say like Hexmag did one that was very much so the same, but they were adjustable so you could have it almost back at like, a hunting rifle angle.
Oh, wow.
Oh, interesting.
And then, or down, like to vertical.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and it's having the capability to go back and forth with that. I don't,
Yep.
You'd have to look at that 11.5, because it either has one of those or some old A2 grip that I got happy with a soldering iron on.
I don't know what it is, but you didn't get happy with it with the soldering iron. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, personally, outside of the VZ grips, I'm a Magpul MOE.
Okay, no, that one is not one. That's just a standard.
Trinity Force.
Yeah, that's just a standard random grip I had laying around.
Yep. So I guess the main takeaways from rear grips are angle, circumference based on your hand size, and then I would say texture, right? I like a more textured grip.
Very much so.
Yeah.
A lot of them overmolding as well. Like the A2s, they're just a straight nylon, injection molded nylon. I don't like them. Their diameter's too small. They're kind of slick. I like, I started with Ergos. I felt their texture kind of wore off too soon. And right now I'm kind of digging the VZ stuff. And then, like I said, the K2 MOE, which has a rubber overmold. It really, whether you're wearing gloves or just your hands, it kind of gets sticky.
They're okay.
Yeah. What do you run?
I run MOEK, as you can see here in my screen.
That's the plastic one with the rough texture.
Yep.
Yep. I have those.
I go-to.
I have those as well.
Yep. And I like, one of my favorite is a stippled up. So this is, stippling where I got happy with the soldering iron again.
Oh yeah.
I have on my competition rifle at home, I actually have just a straight up A2 grip that got a date with a belt sander and a stippling iron, because I just did like the very front, like 3/8.
Okay.
And it's just enough so I've purchased on both sides and mainly on the front, and left the back more or less alone. I did cut the stupid finger groove off.
Yeah.
Because I hate finger grooves on
Agreed. Agreed.
On pretty much everything.
So while we're at the rear of the rifle, you want to move on to buttstocks?
Yes, and that the buttstocks, the one you have there on your 18-inch is, and that is probably my favorite stock.
The hook.
That is for those you can't see, that is
the Mission First Tactical.
Yeah.
The MFT.
Battle Link Minimalist, I believe.
Yep.
It's the full name.
And I love it. The angle of it's right. Just everything about it. The way it goes into my shoulder, I can roll it into place. I have shot it probably more than any others.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely love it. They make one that's aluminum.
Oh, really?
Which is heavier.
Yeah.
And costs more.
Yeah.
But I want it.
I mean, it's at first when I got it, I thought it was kind of gimmicky, right? Because it doesn't have that traditional. It's an L shaped essentially, as opposed to like a triangle shaped, and I just thought it was going to be gimmicky, but it's actually really comfortable for because of it. And you compare to, I think, I don't know if anybody's going to, maybe there's debate on this, but I think Magpul kind of has the majority of the market when it comes to aftermarket stocks. But
100%.
this MFT, they're only like $50 or $60 compared to Magpuls, which are rocking 60 to 90. So they're a little less expensive too.
Well, it depends on what variety of Magpul you buy. If you're buying the standard one, they're going to be about $40.
Oh, okay.
I mean, with the sling hookups on them, then they're running about 60 to 70.
Well, yeah, I would say 100% get the ones with the QD mounts. Don't cheap out. Trust me, that's
the Mission First already has those built into it.
Yep. This one has it on the bottom though, which I'm not really a huge fan of because my rifle. It wants to roll forward on me a little bit,
and right in the side too.
Maybe I have an older one because I don't have one on the side.
I was gonna say I could swear mine had one on the side.
Yeah, I must have an older version, but so like when it comes to buttstocks, I think just in general, if you get one with a rubber pad, it's not necessarily reducing the recoil, but the rubber pad, it seems to help seat against your clothing or your kit a lot better. I think that's a huge help.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely get the QD mounts. I think that would be a good segue into slings after this. And then the AR is just phenomenal with its 6-position adjustable stock, right? Like you don't really get that with most like bullpups, for example. And so I think the AR really excels just with that feature alone, which is of course
it does
common the most.
So one of my other favorite stocks. So I run a lot of the Mission First tacticals. That L-shaped stock. I have a lot of them. I have some of the traditional Magpul ones. I don't think I have anything crazy, like none of the old XM 155s or anything like that. I've thought about it really hard. Then I've got a traditional A2 stock or A2 style, which would be the triangle fixed stock the military has, and then my other favorite, like kind of my other go-to, is actually one from Luth AR.
I've never heard of them.
So Luth AR, I'll try and pull this up while I talk about them. But Luth AR, as a lot of people be like, oh, Luther. They're kind of a neat company. So they're based out of Minnesota, and the guy who owns Luth, he actually is the original owner and designer of all of the DPMS line of rifles.
Oh, interesting.
And that's just one of those where, that was kind of where he got a start, and then gotta find all of their buttstocks here because they have, here we go, buttstocks. And I will share this screen, but they make, so one of the first things that they really did that kind of pushed the limit was they did a direct competitor with Magpul for their PRS stock.
Okay.
So I'm sharing on the screen now so you guys can look at it too and know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Where this has very much so a up and down, like kind of a straight hook to it as well. Much, and then it has the square in between. The reason for that actually comes back to PRS shooting, where you would reach in and that's where you would grab and hold the rifle stock to steady it.
Oh, interesting.
So you'll reach up there if you're going to run a bag or something, and then it has, a not quite infinitely adjustable, but I think they're 1 millimeter adjustments on the cheek weld.
Yeah.
And much the same for how the stock goes for just a little bit extra. and that's on their A2. They have the same thing on a 6-position adjustable M4 style stock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you could actually run if you knew where you were running for a precision rifle but wanted to drop it down, so if you didn't have a folding stock or something like that, for instance, you could shorten that rifle up and still have it. But they are another underrated, and I do think they look rather sexy stock as well.
Oh yeah, they're cool. They got kind of a DMR fucked Daniel Defense stock.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's another point. Like this one you got here is for like a PRS, long range, your cheek welds, right? So obviously with long distance shooting, you want to be able to adjust your cheek stuff as well. But with even your combat style, your
The SOP
tree
mod
gun,
stock.
yeah, a lot of these companies still offer like kind of minimalist stocks, like we just showed with the MFT. But I know like the Magpul, I think it's the older version, but the CTR, it's for the STR, it's got enlarged cheek surfaces. Now adds a little bit of weight, but again, it kind of goes back to
And
if that's comfortable for you.
And don't forget the tubes for AA batteries.
Yeah. I drank that Kool-Aid way back in the day, and then I realized I never actually used it, and it was added weight. So I have since switched to pretty much minimalist stocks and just carry extra batteries in my bug out bag.
I have a version of one of those stocks that I don't think it's the actual SOP mod stock, but it has that flared cheek well, and it's supposed to have the battery compartments.
Oh yeah.
But it had a plug on each end that somehow got lost.
Yep.
I don't know who would have done that.
Fair enough. Well, moving on from stocks, do you want to go into slings since we kind of touched on that already?
Absolutely.
Slings, too easy. Go to Flatline Fiberco and buy a padded rifle sling.
Yeah, like this one right here. For those who are watching,
Yep.
They are glorious.
So we did do a whole episode on slings once, and that is hands down my favorite sling.
By far.
I have a lot of them. I have, slings from War Machine. I have slings from, I have a Vickers tactical stock from Blue Force Gear. I have I have the Magpul M4 stock, or not stock, the sling, which is very similar to what Tyler has showing right now.
Yeah,
I was wondering, is this the Vickers?
This? Yep. No, that is not. That is a Flatline Fiberco.
Or Flatline Fiberco, excuse me. Yeah, because I like the Vickers. Like this one isn't bad. Don't get me wrong, but the Vickers is, I think, it's got a bigger pad in it. It's a little bit thicker nylon straps, and that one's kind of my go-to. And then, of course, I have the QD mounts or the QD attachments on both, so I only have 2 slings, and that covers like all 4 guns that I have.
Yeah, well, that one also has the QD there.
Yep.
On it, and running QDs on everything is incredibly important, I think.
Yeah.
And just because it is great to go back and forth. I mean, I have a few slings, and I've run multiple types. I once ran the Magpul M4, which was, oh man, I really loved this sling. I loved it because it was, I could convert it back and forth. I could go to a single point sling, to a dual point sling, and all of these things with it. And then I started using them, and having a padded sling is incredibly important, and people don't realize it until you're wearing it for 8 hours a day.
Yep. Yeah. And not only is it just, better for the padding, but that padding also enlarges it so it spreads out the surface area, so you're not getting hot spots as easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a 7 to 8 pound rifle doesn't sound like a lot. Like,
Goes
Right,
after a
for
while.
hours.
It's
Huh?
not like a backpack, right, where you're flipping it from both shoulders. If you're right-handed, that sling's going a particular way, and if you're left-handed, that sling's going a particular way as well. So
it kind of rides in one spot.
that it does.
And no, so we've talked about this earlier, and if you look at a lot of these stocks that we've mentioned, I know we've mentioned a handful of them by name. You will see, like, obviously we all like the QDs and the
Yep.
ability to run a QD, but having all of the different sling points where you could actually just attach a sling to it and then run it through forward if you didn't have the QDs or didn't want to because of fabled weight savings or something. And, that was how you wanted to run it. You could just run, attach it to the side and run your sling through. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can do that if you want. It's 2022. You can be who you want to be.
But then you marry it to that gun.
Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I have QDs on mine and they're pretty well married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's just nice to go, oh, I want to run that one today. Oh, I don't have a sling. Oh, no, it does.
The other nice thing about QDs that I learned from just wearing the gun all damn day was I used to really like handguards that had the QDs built in. And for the most part, some of them are really good, but I also like having the ability to add my own aftermarket QDs. Magpul makes a great little QD that mounts right to the M-LOK rails. And what I found was I like them one at the end of the gun, one at the bottom of the gun. Because if I'm walking around, this one having it at the far end, I can have the gun just perfectly kind of slung across my chest, more of an admin move type thing. But then if I just simply change from the furthest QD mount to the closest, then it kind of hangs a little bit more straight down in between my legs, and I can get it up. That's more for
CQB
deployable type thing. And so it really played into just how comfortable I was throughout the day, being able to easily change positions with the sling and the QD mounts, and kind of helped me, I don't want to say stay in the game, but kind of helped me fatigue less over time.
Well, and really so we've talked about, slings and stocks and grips and all these things, along with it. There's one other thing that we should really kind of speak to, and that is the width of rails, like for handguards. So I'm not talking about like how wide a pick rail is, because that all has a standard and a spec.
Mm-hmm.
And, so a 1913 pick rail is the exact same size, supposedly, from every manufacturer. But that said, how thick THICC the handguard is.
You just mean the outer diameter or the outer circumference?
The OD. It's if it's a chonky boy or not. How about that? It's how thick it is of a grip, because like a slimline grip, I like a lot, because I think it cuts down on weight. It makes things, a little bit easier to grab. And then when you start adding shit to the rifle, it bumps out and doesn't stick out further than it needs to.
Well, I actually think that is also a function of the type of foregrip you have as well. So I don't mean to kind of combine the two, but to your point, so on my 11.5-inch barrel pistol here, I actually run a UTG angled foregrip, right? And so because this is shorter, my hand, kind of stuck in front of my hand is much more comfortable sitting at a 45 than it is trying to grip that perfectly parallel to the ground handguard. But this handguard is actually, to your point, very small in diameter. But then when I go over to this 18-inch, or with the Aero Precision Enhanced upper receiver, this bad boy is probably 2 times the diameter of that one, and I actually run just a straight hand stop for the most part, no angle on that, and my big ass hand can really comfortably wrap around this entire thing.
Yep, and that's where we're looking at it. It's what are you going to do? How are you going to shoot?
Right.
And then there's a point of doing things so they look good for the gram, and there's a point of doing things because they work.
Isn't that all that matters? Is the gram?
And there's only one real way to find that out, and that's to get out and train.
Oh,
that's right.
And what's one of the best ways you can get out and train?
One of the best ways you can do that these days is with the Trigger Interactive Smart Target Attachment System. It's a live fire training system that allows any steel targets out on your range to interact with you, just like the state-of-the-art military systems do. Check them out at triggerinteractive.com. Use promo code AR-15 for a 10% off discount any one of their packages.
Yep, and so we've talked a little bit about how to do that. Again, one of the most important things that I can't stress enough is when you learn this all comes down to like, oh, hey, what do I want to have here? One thing we haven't talked about, like we talked about safeties, we didn't talk about charging handles.
Oh yeah, yep.
There's as many charging handles as there are rifles almost. Running a standard, the cheapy $11 GI spec, charging handle is kind of a thing of the past. There's still rifles that come with them, but it's very quickly something people throw away.
Yeah.
I don't always buy into the hype that some people put onto some of them because I have a really hard time paying $200 for some of them.
Yeah. Which one is 200? The most expensive one I've seen is the Silencer Co. one, the Gas Buster, and that one's like 120, I think.
Oh, I've seen them up there.
Really?
Oh yeah, they can get expensive. I actually prefer just going to our local gun shop, or not shop, show that they have around South Dakota, the circuit. And if they don't have a stamp on them, man, you can pick them up for $20. And you know what? I haven't had a malfunction yet, so.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's the same thing if they stamp a freaking Magpul or whatever they want to stamp on them. I have 3 of them in my safe right now. I don't know what brand they are, but they work phenomenal.
Well, I do have to admit, in terms of ergonomics, I think some are better than others. Obviously, my go-to, and I think everybody's kind of agree, the king shit right now for ambi charging handles is probably the Radian Raptor. Yep. In my opinion, it's one of the easiest to rack, and ergonomics wise, no longer do you have to ensure that you got some like super crazy ass grip or doing the dual finger thing. I can just easily rack this. Now, actually, the one I have on this gun right here is the brace built, which is a very close second to the Radian Raptor, and I think it's actually half the price, and in my opinion, performs just as good.
As good.
Yeah. But I gotta admit, I do have as much as I like their stuff, I do have this Aero Precision Breach, and the angle of it like the I don't know what you want to call it, the levers or whatnot, they're angled a little bit farther forward, and I don't catch it as easily. No, don't get me wrong, it's still a significant improvement over a mil-spec GI, but
yeah,
I know really getting down into the anal retentive side of this, the brace built, the Radian Raptors are easier to pull.
Somewhere on one of my alleged ARs, there is a charging handle that has I think it's an old Bravo company large latch.
Is that just that one where it's just like huge fucking arms sticking out the side?
It's just like something the size of my palm.
Yeah.
Sticking off the side of the rifle where it's just like, wow. And you high five the rifle and it just works. Yeah. It's awesome. I love it.
I've used stuff like that. The only thing I don't like about it is when I go to put it into my, I got one of those rifle carrying cases where you put 2 guns into it. fuck, you can damn near only fit one gun in there because the charging handle is just stabbing into the other rifle, fucking it up.
Oh no, I know. It's like I have it because at the time that was what it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could go through and, fix that issue. Or like, oh, I bought this charging handle, fix that. Well, then I found a detent pin.
Yeah.
So I now have multiple parts. I just better buy another rifle or build another rifle.
Yeah.
It's actually funny you said that, Dooley. As I was checking my gun here, I noticed it was a Bravo company. So I've got several of those as well. Enjoy them a lot.
Yeah, and I have those. Like I think I have an Armaspec one, which someone out there is really going to call me like a man of the pores for, because Armaspec just they make decent stuff, but they are 100% knockoff. Like somebody comes out with something,
Yeah.
and they do just enough to not get sued. And I hate saying it like that because they do quality stuff, but it seems like they're shortly after another one.
Sure.
In my 300 Blackout, I have an Armaspec. It would be like the JP Silent Capture Buffer Spring system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have the Armaspec version of that.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think I got it in a tack pack years ago.
Oh, really? I don't think I have any of their stuff, to be honest with you. So
I really like it. Like it's great, and it's worked well for me. I have no real complaints of it.
Right on. Well, let's see. I think I got one other thing that to mention for ergonomics, and it's something I really came across or hit hard this summer was kind of height of optic on my rail. So I used to be kind of get that optic down as low as I possibly can, which obviously is very important for long distance shooting. But as I did more and more carbine stuff, I kind of realized I kind of like a little bit higher of a riser when it comes to optics for a couple of reasons. One, you don't have to cringe your neck over as much. And two, I found that like even with my good like Walker Slims or my Peltor Comtac 5s, I was hitting the buttstock quite a bit when I shouldered the weapon. And I'm rocking a Vortex Strike Eagle here, but I noticed that the Swamp Fox Tomahawk that I got with the mount that it came with was probably a quarter to a half inch higher than my Strike Eagle was. And boy, do I like that a lot more. So and I also know that I think the hot thing for the summer was the Unity Point Tactical like EOTech riser. So you can drop the magnifiers down the center line of the gun as opposed to popping them out to the side. I think some of those get a little excessive because they're primarily made for NVGs, but I think
you mean the GBRS mount, the GBRS group mount?
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah,
and that is one you're talking about. That is a riser for a red dot. That is remarkably high in my eyes.
Yeah,
because let me see if I can find it quick. It's a very expensive.
Oh yeah,
mount as well.
It was like $300, wasn't it?
Oh, I want to say this was closer to $5.
Wow. Okay.
But no, we were both wrong, and we were both low.
Really?
So I will share the screen here so that Garth, if you haven't seen what we're talking about, this particular mount.
Oh yeah, that thing. I remember that.
So it's $550.
That's too much.
But the whole concept behind it is it has another rail in front of it, and you would mount. It's specifically designed for use with a laser and night vision, so that you could run your laser higher too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that one I don't get, but people
And
buy it.
I think most people aren't rocking night vision, to be honest with you. And I didn't mean to go down the night vision bird walk, but basically what I was saying, I found that if I just raised my optic up like even a quarter of an inch from where I normally put it, it made worlds of difference. I mean, my cheek is still touching the buttstock, right? So I still have that muscle memory of putting my cheek in the same exact place. I've seen some of these ones where your like chin is at the bottom, or if not touching
Yeah.
at all. But yeah, getting a good height over bore with your optic, I think I found a huge improvement over what I was using.
Oh, 100%. And that is important but again, that's something you only find out if you train.
Yeah.
Like if you go out and shoot, then you find this stuff out, and that might be like training for a competition, taking classes, anything like that. And I can tell you the other thing that no one has mentioned yet that I think might be the most important part of ergonomics.
Morale patches?
And well, that's a good one too. You might be right, because if it doesn't make you happy, like this one brings me joy.
You don't look cool doing it. What's the point?
Yep. And Garth, where can you find morale patches at?
Well, you can find them at Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. Like Tyler said, they have morale patches, they have movie patches, they have tins, they have mouse pads or cleaning pads. They have it all. They have the Patch of the Month Club. Go ahead and sign up, guys. It's a great deal. So you can find those guys at Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
Yep. But actually, I was going to go somewhere else. So great segue there. But no, I was going to say, and unfortunately, it's not legal in all 50 states, which means it's got to be good.
Hookers.
It's not hard to
and blow.
California.
No, silencers. And this is one where, like we talked about night vision or something like that with height over bore. I love running a suppressed gun so much more than a normal loud gun.
Oh yeah.
Until I start crying, yeah, I'm on board.
We'll just get you one of those Lucas Botnick like masks.
Yeah,
you can walk around like
that.
Bane.
Going out looking like fucking Bane at the. I probably should. I mean, like, didn't Grantham actually get lead poisoning from all the shooting he was doing?
Allegedly.
I mean, I'll admit it's nice in the winter because it clears you out. I mean, spicy food or shooting a suppressed gun, man, that you can breathe again.
I mean, I don't know. I should really have the VA check my lead content at some point. But,
let's bump that percentage up, eh?
But no, I know that I probably should as well, because I have shot a lot of very, very, very much belt fed weapons that feed back, where again you have like almost the Braveheart line.
Yeah.
They're like just black on one side of your face.
Yep.
Which is generally like this whole side is fine because it's covered by the weapon, and then this one is like the left side of my face is just black from gas blowby.
That's I gotta admit, after we had a Huxworks on a few weeks ago, I kind of got my eyes set on one of those no back pressure flow through suppressors that they make. I never shot one. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but I'm kind of want to find out if that's worth the case or not. And then also with that, I haven't tried one yet, but I heard those Silencer Co. gas buster charging handles are actually pretty legit for that as well.
Huh.
Now I know a guy who did something similar. Well, he didn't do that where he bought it, but he made a gas buster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he lives in the same town you do, Tyler.
Oh yeah.
But what he did was on the back of his AR, he took the like automotive silicone.
Yeah.
And just put a bead around his charging handle. and then set it in. So when he pulls it in and out, the charging handle moves through the silicone, but the gas just stops.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
Is that Machine Gun Mike or?
No, it wasn't Machine Gun Mike. He might have got the idea from him though.
Oh, right on.
Yep. So you guys got anything else here before we call it quits for the week?
No, I think we've covered a wide variety of ergonomics.
Yeah. I would just say, try stuff out. Don't be afraid to pick up some of your buddy's stuff. Don't be afraid to get, suggestions from your friends and colleagues. And like I said, you might get a suggestion and you might hate it. I mean, I've had a couple of Dooley's guns now, and I don't know what the fuck he's doing. It does not work for me. But yeah, I mean, you keep trying stuff until you find the right combination, and that's the beauty about the AR. It's
different things work for different people.
Yeah.
And
well, you don't like something one month, you can pull it off and put something on the next month, and you're not really out anything. Because I had shit sitting in my gun parts locker for 4 years that all of a sudden I was able to throw on something, and it worked great for that.
And then suddenly you have a basement that looks like mine.
Yeah, I'm about there,
I don't know, dude. I was in his basement the other day. It's rough. I mean, for all the stuff your wife's cleaned out of there, your side just keeps getting deeper and bigger and deeper and bigger.
Well, when was that, Dooley? A month and a half ago, and I dropped by, and I'm like, hey, can I swing through and grab that Wilson Combat grip module for my M17? Yeah, sure. It's down in the parts box. And we go downstairs, and there's like 5 parts boxes the size of like a fucking Amazon return box of just everything. And I can't
shut your office door right now because there's 2 big totes just full of shit. I mean, from all the stuff you ordered. She's like, I just throw it in there. I don't even care. I don't even look. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep.
I'm just worried about having like a giant cardboard pile when I get back.
Oh, we're going to build a sweet cardboard fort.
Yes, that is a fact. But, one of the great places you can go to this is, obviously our sponsor for all of this is Primary Arms and Expo Arms. Guys, we had talked a little bit about something coming up. Should we talk about that now? Like, obviously, we want a listener question show to come up, so you guys need to send in your answers.
Yep.
But I think we were talking about doing something big here in a couple months.
Yeah, like a big giveaway. Is that what you're getting at?
I was saying about
Yeah, I think we were going to give something away to one of our listeners.
Yeah.
So Garth, you got that there?
Which one?
That Expo Arms upper.
I sure do. It's right here.
Ooh,
yes, all of the joys and oohs and ahs of what it is a 16-inch slimline Expo Arms upper, and it has a slimline grip with M-lock going through it, and top rail all the way through, as one would want to have. I think Tyler's going to do a little review on this for us, and after that, I think we'll give it away to one of you fine folks.
Absolutely, and I think we better tack a challenge on there or something. I don't quite know what it's going to be yet, but we're going to have to.
Yeah, this will definitely be more than just a hey, I want a free upper.
Yeah. Yep.
You're gonna have
to show us some cool shit in order to get it.
Yes, like I have a feeling there will be a Instagram, perhaps a hashtag.
Oh yeah,
and you'll have to do some liking and following of our social medias, which are what, guys?
We got AR-15 Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube is AR-15 Podcast 2.0. You want to submit your user or your listener questions, got anything random, want to tell us to fuck off, whatever you want. Gmail is AR15podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. And of course, you can find us on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.com. AR-15.net under podcasts, AR-15 podcast.
Yep. And with that, we will take photographs of anything you think is neat as far as, builds, tasteful nudes, and things of that nature. So, but be prepared if you send those in. We may discuss them on air, and we may or may not name you. So, with that said, guys, I've got nothing else for the week.
No, I'm pretty well set.
All right. Well, you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed.